Welcome, everybody, to Turbonomic Labs on this fine Tuesday. So, if you're joining us live, thank you for being part of this event. We're going to be sorry, it's Thursday. Goodness gracious, that's the kind of day that it is. Today, it is a special Open Thursday, and we're going to be having a little bit of fun with a cool new Linux utility. But let's get started. My name is Eric Wright. If you're brand new to the Turbonomic Labs, part of our company, Turbonomic Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we offer very Turbonomic specific content. It's meant to be deep dive so that we can help you to understand sort of more about your platform, more about how it affects your infrastructure, and really dive into the neat technical features and capabilities that help to ultimately, get started with some of the neater things that you can do. Maybe folks don't even know are little Easter eggs inside the platform. But most importantly, we all as a community are better off when we share everything. And this is why Turbonomic Open Thursdays are close to my heart, because it's a chance for us to look at things that are outside of the realm that just day-to-day things. We've talked about OpenShift. We've talked about AWS, how to stand up a VPC. We've done all sorts of things that are very open. They could be open source, just general open technologies. But really, it's meant to be content that matters to you, that's going to help you with your career. And I'm very proud to be able to, through my Turbonomic team, do that. So, of course, if you want to follow along, you can always do so. Please, I recommend, if you can, just hit that subscribe button wherever those buttons are. Subscribe to those things. It'll let you know when new episodes are up. And of course, you can go to turbonomic.com/labs, and you'll get access to, we are the office hours on demand. That'll take you to our schedule page. We try to run schedules, events as often as we can with really cool content. Thankfully, I've got such an amazing team. We had Jacob Ben David, who did an amazing cloud deep dive. I was joined by Rick Oakes, who's our principal product manager this just past Tuesday. And we really dove into some of the new features in Turbonomic 8. And if next week, I've got a really cool episode to share, so make sure you jump back in on Tuesday. And of course, we are broadcasting right now on Periscope, LinkedIn Live, YouTube. So if you're watching from wherever you are, drop in a comment. Let us know if you want to hear anything or see anything more. And if you got an idea, then you can always reach out to that guy right there. So my Twitter handle is Disco Posse. You can also email me, eric.wright@turbonomic.com. Always open to guests and show ideas where we can do that. Anyways, let's get to the fun. Today, I'm going to introduce you with a very simple but incredibly powerful utility called Screen. And so it's going to be a command line jockey experience here right now. I'm going to show you a couple of use cases. So first, the Screen utility, it's something that's available on every Linux derivative. You can even get it for command shells and command prompts inside Windows as well. There is a Windows derivative of it, but it's most popular, especially when you're running in console sessions on a Linux machine. And the reason why this is important is because let's just say you had a long running process like an install or some kind of an update, something that you needed to leave in the background. Well, the problem you've got is, imagine, here's an example, right? I've got an instance which is sitting out there. It's actually in my vCenter. It's sitting in VMware. This also could be an AWS instance, so it could be something that you have out on the web. Well, when you go to log into it and you SSH, the moment that you get out of your SSH session, your console dies. Of course, it should. It's by design. It's not meant to stay alive. But that SSH session, what if you had something that was long running and you needed to leave it running? So what if there was a way that you could initiate a persistent shell that stays alive and you can actually get out of it without losing the shell, and you can actually go ahead and do other things? And this is the magic of Screen. So if we just do a Screen, there actually is, the funny thing is there is no help command. If you don't already have Screen, you can either pull it down with apt or yum. So you just do an apt get Screen. Same thing for yum install Screen. It's a simple utility. If it's not already out of the box in whatever derivative that you've got of your Linux distribution, then you can download it. And we use this all the time actually at Turbonomic. It's really cool. And I'll kind of talk about the use case there. But mainly, what's it for? So there's a very simple, there's actually a manual page as well if you wanted to take a look at that. But if you just type screen with something, if you just type screen by itself, this is kind of a misnomer. It kind of blows you up because if you just type screen by itself, it enters into a screen session. So I'm going to tell you the first steps here. And you can even do this right if you run in a Mac. I'll show you what it looks like just natively right on a Mac because it's actually deployed by default. So what we're going to do is we're going to say screen -s. Well, we're going to actually generate a new one, and I'm going to give it a label. Let's do it without the label. Let's just try it. So type in screen, and it tells you, hey, this is what's going on. You're about to enter screen. Okay, so now it looks exactly the same as where I just was, right? So if I do a list, I can I'm exactly like I am in any other session, or I can see things that are going on in my environment. Oh, oops. So it's just a persistent shell that's there. But the only reason why I say persistent is because if you go and let's take a look, and we'll open up another tab. So if I go ahead and type screen -list, or you can also do screen -ls, what you're going to see here is, let's just zoom it in a bit there. There we go. Make it a little easier to read. What I'm seeing now is that, here's the name of my machine. Here's the TTY, so that it's actually the session that it's on. Here's a process ID for it. And you can see that it says it's attached. And that's because I'm literally in the session right now over here. Now, what happens if I just exit out? Okay, so we're exited out of there. Screen is terminating. We say screen -list or -ls. And there we are. So it says no sockets found. So no sockets found means that there's no active screen sessions that are there. And that's because I got into one and I got out. But now this is where the magic comes in. It's quite simple that we're going to say screen. And now I go over here, screen -ls. Perfect. So I've got an attached screen just like I had before. And now this is the magic. You're going to hit Control A D. So Control A D all together. And that, what it does is it detaches the screen. If you think about when you used to use Linux terminals, you could actually have Control Alt and you could actually go through like 9 different consoles. This is effectively doing that same thing. So you can leave it attached in the background. So now let's do a screen list. Oh, look at that. That's what happens when you do a live presentation here. I accidentally terminated. Oops. There we go. Detached. Hit control too many times. It actually cleared out. So I do screen -ls. Okay, there we go. So now what I see is I've got the process ID for the screen, the terminal session that is active on. It automatically appends the name of your machine there. You'll notice in my CLI there. And it shows as a state is detached. Okay, cool. Well, now what? So now all we do is we go back over, and because I'm able to do things, I can do regular stuff here. I could be working away, working locally. And now I'm going to say screen -R. Because there's only one screen session active, it automatically attaches me to the only active process that's there. So I do a screen -ls. I'm doing it in the second window. And there we go. Now we're reattached. Now, why is that cool? Well, let's take a look at, imagine we had a long running process. So we'll use the simplest possible long running process, a continuous ping. So now we say Control AD, so we detach. There we go. You can see it says detached. And let's go to our second console. ls. So again, it's detached, it's active, very cool. But what if I wanted to do another one? So I'm going to say new screen session. Now I'm going to ping to something that's different. I'm going to detach from that screen. And what I've got now is 2 active background console sessions that are running. And if I go over here, screen-ls, now I see 2. And this is handy because now what I can do over here, so I've got 36.415, 36.436. If I go to my first console and I say screen-r, remember a second ago when I did this, it automatically attached. Well, now it's going to say, hang on a second, there's actually more. So you've got to actually type in which one you want. So in this case, I'm just going to grab the process ID. So I'm going to say screen-r to reattach process ID 36415. Hey, look at that. There's my persistent ping. Well, I want to keep that going. So I'm going to say Control D. So I'm going to detach. And now I'm going to say screen-r, the second session, 3.6. Remember, these are randomly generated process IDs. So you have to find out what they are. You jump back in. There you go. I've got my second session. So this could be some kind of a log to console, a standard out. It could be an install process that's going on, some kind of a batch process or something that's going on that you want to leave in the background. So again, Control-Alt-A-D, and I'm going to detach from it. And I've got those persistent things that are continuing to run in the background. Now, here's the fun part. What if I wanted something a little more easy to remember? So I'm going to say screen-s. We're actually going to attach a label to it. I'm going to call this one disco. Alrighty. So I've got something going on here. I'm going to say ping Google persistently. Okay, so we're in our second console. Again, let's do a screen-list. I've got 2 detached screens. I've got 1 attached, which is running, but this is what's cool, right? It's labeled for me. So now, if I go ahead and do the same thing, I'm going to say Control-A-D, all 3 together. You got to do a little Spock grip on there. So Control-A-D, I detach from that screen session. And now, if I say screen-r, it's going to give me 3 of them, right? Imagine that I just say screen-r disco. So now, because I've labeled it, I don't need to know the random process ID that's attached to that. So it's a simple little command. And in fact, I'm gonna fire up a blog, and it's going to be up on the turbonomic.com/blog, which will go through exactly what we talked about here. I'll actually embed this session so you can see what it is, because this is a handy little utility. So we detach from that one again. Now, this is kind of where the fun can come in, because now we know how to get in there. We know how to detach. We also know how to label it. Let's do another one. Screen-r labs. Oops, there we go. Oops, screen-s labs. Create a new session, give it a label. Say ping turbonomic.com. Ready? Oops, Control-A-D. There we go. Screen-list. Oh, I accidentally exited out. See, this is what happens. This is why you got to be careful. Oh, there we go. Detached. Okay, cool. So I see I've got a detached labs. I've got a detached disco. I got 2 other random ones that are detached. And I, from here, can jump into any of them. But what's cool is, now imagine here's my use case. I've got my machine that's over on vCenter, Well, I wanted to say screen dash S update. And I could run some kind of a general process. So I'm going to say yum update and say I got to get out of there, right? So we'll leave that in the background. Screen list. So it's there, it's detached, but it's actually doing stuff in the background. I'll say jump back in. And of course, if I were to go back in, it'd be like, hey, there's a problem. So I'm going to say sudo update -y. Right? So you can start something, go back and check on it because there may be stuff that's got to happen. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get out of there now. And because I'm out, it's now potentially doing stuff in the background. Same story. So imagine you go ahead, you go get your coffee. Let's jump back in. Oh, look at that. It's still going. Cool. Control AD, right? Get out. I can keep doing other things, right? This is the magic. Is you are now able to use a single SSH console instead of having like 10 consoles. But most importantly, if I bounce my console, I can always reconnect to that. So this is a very, very important thing. And then this is literally like one of the fastest, tip episodes we can run because I'm going to show you the one last trick that's really magical. Then we're going to recap again what these commands are. And I'll show you where to find out more, of course. So we've got 4 active sessions over here. Screen -R labs. So I've got an active session. And here's a separate situation. But imagine that you have another teammate, another colleague that needs to help you with this install process. We all work from home. So how do you do that? Well, they SSH in. But they can't, right? When they SSH, they get their own terminal. But what if you could do something really cool? So they SSH into the machine. They type in screen -ls and they say, oh, here's Eric. He's on the labs. Screen -x labs. While this is me on my single console today, I could literally be anywhere in the world and have multiple people seeing and sharing exactly the same terminal session, any of which can also get out, type, interact with it. So it's a really, really amazing way that you can work, set up a session, leave your screen console active elsewhere, and then get out. You log off your machine. If you're on a VPN, you don't have to worry about the VPN dropping. And then if you go back in, screen -R update, let's see how our update's going. Okay, still going. Control AD, right? So now you've got this ability to be able to jump on, begin long running processes. And it's actually a very, very nifty utility. So let's quickly recap what we talked about in these little sessions here. So first thing you do is say screen. It generates a random process ID. You have your own active console. In order to get out, it's Control AD. Control AD, and it detaches. Do a screen -ls or screen -list. You can see all of the different ones that you've got. So this was a random one. So second option, screen -R. Let's reattach to it. And let's do 3, 6, 5, 3, 6. So I'm back in there. If I want to exit the shell, always clean up after your pets, right? This is be careful. Just literally exit out. It's just like any other shell. So if I do a screen -ls, there's no more 36536 because I've actually exited the session. And sometimes you may find, dead sessions that are out there. So there's a few other commands you can use. But the main thing is you could just jump in, reattach to that session, and then from there you can find out what's going on and exit out, because you may have an active process that you want to maintain. So we've done a random screen. We do a screen dash S to provide a label. So I'm going to call it super duper. Posse.com. I leave my thing going. Do a control AD. Oops. Control AD. There we go. So over here, screen dash LS. We've got our super duper. So we do screen. Oops, we're running out of space there. Dash R label. So we've got a session title. And then if I want to, I can get out, I can stop. And then the other alternative is when we had our screen dash LS, we've got a few that are going here. I've got like multiple windows going on at the same time. So I want to go and I want to reattach to this one. So I'm going to say 36415, but I'm over on a separate console. So I'm going to say screen dash X process ID. Screen dash R process ID. 3641. There you go. Oh, look at that. It's already, see, it's already attached. Now, using dash X as a multi-person access. I stop something here. It stopped over here. Type something that throws an error. See it over here. So this could be one of the most powerful, nifty little utilities because it allows you to set up things. You can start batch process. Like I said, do long running processes, lots of options. Set up your remote session. You can exit out. You can leave it running in the background because ultimately this sits as a background process ID, not like your terminal shell. Remember, when you SSH into a terminal shell, you're taking up an active console. There's the physical console, which if you were to go on your vCenter, so if I go on to vCenter and I click this guy, I do the web console. Why this is handy to use that versus, oh, sorry, I've got my pop-up blockers killing it. Always happens. There we go. So the problem I've got here is that what I'm doing is I'm actually getting standard out. Imagine that you've got, like here, I've got all sorts of stuff that's going on in the console. So I can't really use the physical console. So I want to use one of the virtual consoles, which is why we have SSH. So I SSH in, do a screen list. So I've got one running. Okay, let's get out. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reattach. So now I'm back on my remote session in a new SSH session. So I've effectively erased it. Screen, dash list, and there it is. So no matter where I go, my screens are there waiting for me. That's why I call it the magic of screen. It really is a nifty little utility and something that I hope that you find value in, because as we do more and more, even if you're coming from the Windows side of the world, you can use the same kind of console session over there. So there is a screen for Windows, very popular in Linux, of course. And this means that in your AWS, in your Azure, in wherever you are, whatever cloud you're in, or like Droplets on DigitalOcean, you name it, you've now got the ability to set up a persistent, active background session that's always there waiting for you. And then you can get out. You don't have to worry about VPN drops. You don't have to worry about network issues. You now have something that is there for you. And let's take a look and see how our update's going. Screen dash R for reattach, update, name of the label, in this case, because I already labeled it. And look at that, we're complete. So just like that, that is the magic of screen. I hope it's a handy utility for you. Like I said, check out turbonomic.com/blog. I'll have the blog available as well, which will contain this video. So if you're watching this video from inside the blog, thank you for doing two really cool things with me and my team here. And with that, we're going to wrap up for the day. But make sure you come on back. So this coming Tuesday, I have a brand new, amazing announcement to bring to Turbonomic Labs. So come on out on Tuesday, October the 6th. We will see you there. If you're watching live, it's going to be fantastic. I've got a really cool new product to show. So make sure you jump on in. Again, my name is Eric Wright. Thank you for watching Turbonomic Labs. Make sure you do hit the subscribe button wherever it's at. Please do hit the bell so you get notified when new videos pop up. We're going to be doing a lot more like this. And give us a shout out, a thumbs up wherever you're at. We always do appreciate the feedback. Even if you don't like it, tell us you don't like it and tell us what you'd like to see, because that's what we're here for. All right, with that, have a great day, everybody. Thanks very much.